Okay. We are at the point in our talk where we get to deal with now the most exciting part in video production, the part that everybody loves. This is where everybody wants to be a part of this segment of production, and that is production. Who doesn't like going to the video production studio or the location when all the cameras are getting set up, everybody's bringing out the coffee and donuts, and the crew's there and they're unpacking lights? This is a blast for the first 40 minutes. Then a lot of people realize at that moment they're leaving to go back to work, because as it turns out, they discover quickly that, like everything else, it's actual work. It is. It's all exciting. The camera's getting set up and everything's, and now we got to get the machine working. We got to get whatever it is we're shooting. It's got to be put in place. If we're going to shoot some food, it's got to be cooked and brought out, and the stylist. We got actors. We got actors are coming in. They need a makeup artist, and the makeup and the person is. There are delays. There are moments where we need to just reset the camera and check the audio and put the lights are wrong. We got to move the light. This stuff takes a good amount of time to get everything in order and ready. And certainly what can happen on the video production shoot, and this is just the nature of the beast, and we all love it, and it's a lot of fun, but we can tell when all the extra folks that have come along to be a part of the process are bored. And a lot of times it has to do with when they're there on the shoot, and they're more than welcome, and it's no problem at all to have some extra folks watching, but then they realize that the client, perhaps their coworkers, the production professionals that are there, have it under control. They maybe realize they don't need to be there. We're going to shoot the machine again. The machine's going to run. We're going to do an interview with the CEO. He's going to do it in the conference room. Maybe he'd prefer there's not a lot of extra people in the room. He just wants to do it. You know what? A lot of folks will, the first hour or two of the shoot, they'll say, you know what? You guys really have this under control. I'm going to go back to work. If anything goes disastrous, call me. I'll come back this afternoon and see how you're doing. So we're going to talk about what everybody thinks is the most glamorous, the most exciting part of the whole production process, and that's production. So we're still working on how to set a budget. So we had our chart in the interest of making this clean and fun. We're going to go back to, we've erased everything else. We're going to go back to simple. Simple is here with DIY. Simple is also do it yourself. Simple is 0. We're talking production. We are getting into production. So, is production going to be simple? And what we're going to do is we're going to take production as, to break it down, we're going to put 1 day of production. Because anything we would set as a budget here, we're going to call for 1 day. And then obviously every shoot is different, every project is different. They could actually just exponentially go down as you realize productions could go into days and days and days. So let's just say a day of production is what the project calls for. And as you can imagine, travel costs and other things, that the additional days might not cost exactly as much as the first day. If the first day involved a lot of setup and the next 2 days are at the same location and you're just repeating what you're doing, maybe there's some savings. The idea being, DIY is simple at 0. So if we're producing a video, and I've been in video production for more than 20 years, and people want to shoot their own video, then that's 0. Obviously, simple. If you're the marketing person and you've decided I'm just going to shoot my own video, that's 0, and that's simple. That's do it yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, other than the fact that certainly having professionals do it is great, and it's going to yield a product that's 10 times better. But maybe you have a company camera and you want to just shoot it yourself. So that's 0, right? 0 is you get what you get, you shot it yourself, there you go. Then to hire a video production crew, and you've got a typical sort of corporate video. Let's say you've got a stylist, you've got a grip, you've got a lighting person, you've got audio, you've got camera, you've got all of that stuff. You've got the producer's time, the the director's time, all of that stuff. In the world of corporate video, in a market like Columbus, Ohio, or Phoenix, Arizona, or Portland, Oregon, right? Mid-sized market, or what you might call almost large market. To shoot a day of video could cost, with that whole crew, let's say we're going to put $4,000 on it. Does that seem reasonable? I think I can hire a director of photography for $1,000. He's got a camera, I got a grip, a lighting person, an audio person, and you add it all up. So is it 4,000? Is that this is a tough thing to call, because in this particular example, what I might want to do, just to really think it through, I might need, and again, for the purpose of this discussion, we're thinking about a 3-minute corporate video, or maybe a TV commercial that's produced locally, and you might be able to do a slim crew and do a day of shooting, and maybe you need the teleprompter, maybe you don't, maybe you need a lot of lighting, maybe you don't, you could do a simple, but you find a crew that could do it at $2,500 a day, a smaller, leaner crew, or you might be at $5,000 a day because you really needed a makeup artist, you needed a prompter, you needed an audio person, you needed a lighting person, you needed, we really got to have it. We got some nice stuff going on in the factory. We're doing a product shoot, and we need. So let's say that DIY simple. Let's say we have a standard, and then let's say we have over here. I'm going to put elaborate. Now, elaborate gets into, we've got a 10 or 15 person crew. We've got a grip truck. We have a crane or a jib. We have this. We just have a lot going on, a very complicated. We have actors. I mean, if you have 3 or 4 actors, scenes with actors, and you're doing a really elaborate production, the one day of production, not including your talent, travel costs, and your food, craft services and all that, just in terms of production staff and production equipment, you might spend 20 grand a day to get a grip truck and lighting and a crane and the big jib and operator and a teleprompter and this and makeup artist and stylist and all the production people that you need to pull off a successful shoot. Let's say you're a pretty major restaurant chain in a pretty good size market, and you're doing a day of shooting in the restaurant, and you've got a bunch of setups, different scenes with customers and waitresses and waiters and the food coming out, and you're gonna acquire footage that you're gonna use in your TV commercial campaign for the whole year. So you got a grip truck and lighting people. I mean, you might be at 20 grand a day, but a standard. A nice, what would we call it? Let's see, simple, standard, elaborate. What would that number be when you got a pretty good sized crew going and you're spending $5,000 a day to shoot a nice scene? We'll come up with a term for it. So simple, standard, premium. We'll just call it premium. Simple, standard, premium, and elaborate. And this is, let's say what a production crew is. This is your director of photography. Maybe you have a second camera op. You've got a grip. You've got, what are the things that are the typical roles that happen in a production? You've got a makeup artist. You've got a lighting professional. Somebody's really there to set up the grip might work for the lighting person, perhaps. You've got the, what else might you have here? An audio person. An audio tech, right? An audio engineer. An engineer, that's a good term. I like that, engineer. All right, so there's a lot going on here. Maybe you have, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say that's an average of $500 a day per person. I'm making it up. 5, 10, 15, 20, 2,500. There's $3,000 in labor before you've paid for your equipment. I mean, just to get all the camera gear there. So gear. A teleprompter operator. Do we have a stylist on here? How about a stylist? How about the art director? You know, and that's, I mean, is that, you know, are we including our cost of our producer director and his time for the day, or her time for the producer director? So obviously, as we get into simple, who's doing that shoot? You, the client. You said, I'm going to just do all this myself. So if for zero, you're shooting it, that's the budget for that. For the standard, let's say $2,500, you might just get this person, this person, this one. I just need a DP, a grip, and a lighting, and an audio guy, and a second camera. I decided I want a second camera, and I don't need a makeup artist. So it's extremely variable. You got to think it all through, and it's the whole purpose of this presentation. How do we set the budget? How many people do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And the producer or director, that could be 2 different people, right? And then the client is, so you could have 12, 13, 14, 15, you could have 20 people on a set. You get into elaborate is where we got the grip truck and all that. I mean, you can imagine, you just fill in the cost of a day of shooting is these people plus, grip truck. You get into gear. What kind of cameras are we going to be using? 2K, 4K. Are we going to have the drone camera? We're going to have 4 guys running around with GoPros, and we're going to put GoPros on different things and do different angles. We're going to do a time lapse. We're going to do all kinds of elaborate lighting out of the grip truck. We're going to do a crane or a jib. We got a doorway dolly. We got a whole collection of gear, right? That comes with a grip truck. And so how much of this is going to go into each day of shooting? And obviously elaborate at 20 grand, you probably have the whole kit and caboodle. And a zero means you're shooting it on your DSLR that your marketing department owns, and you're doing it yourself. There you go. That's production. That's a breakdown of production, and we're going to come up with some real nice, there's a reason we're doing this rough draft, and hopefully we can see this. We're going to come up with a real nice way to organize all these into really cool graphics. And I'm even going to, this is such a nice piece, I might even just go over here, take the camera. Let's just zoom in on some of this right here, right? That's a heck of a chart we got going there. And can we even see it? We're going to zoom out. What a bunch of chicken scratch. Oh man, who is going to be able to even make any sense of this nonsense? All right. So there we go. There's a day of production. And we're going to erase all this. And obviously the other point we would want to make is that, this is one day in the line item on the budget. So if this goes into 4 days, obviously we're going to take, if we're going to shoot $5,000 with the premium crew that gives us a good part of everything on this list you'd want at production, then you got 20 grand. Can I multiply 5 times 4 that fast? 20 grand. There it is. Who screwed up the camera? Look at all that headroom. 5, 6, 4, that would work. Okay, we're going to fix that, erase that, stop the recording, and go on to the next one.